Hello, in this video we'll be learning how to multiply binomials. Again, binomials are polynomials with two terms, in this case x plus 2, those are the two terms in this first binomial, and x and 3, or x plus 3, those are the two terms in the second binomial. Once again, I'm going to use algebra tiles because they are great at showing a visual representation of what's going on, which in this case is multiplication of binomials. So to represent, I need to turn this into a cloner here. Alright, so to represent x plus 2, we'll bring that over to here. So we have x and two ones, so here's x plus 2. And then up top I'll do the x plus 3. So here's that. 1, 2, and 3. Oops, I forgot to get my last algebra tile. There we go. Alright. So, when we multiply x times x, we get x squared. And when I multiply this x times this 1, I get x, because x times 1 is x. X times 1 again is x. X times 1 again is x. And then down here, when I get, oops, let me turn these both sideways here. So when I multiply this 1 times this x, I get x. And then this 1 times that x, I get x. And then we have a bunch of 1s. So 1 times 1, 1 times 1, 1 times 1, 1 times 1, and 1 times 1, 1 times 1. So as you noticed from before, we get a nice rectangle here, which is a good representation of the area model for multiplication. We're going to need to do some simplification because, as you can see, we have 3x's here and 2x's here. So the final simplified answer when you multiply here is 1x squared plus 5x plus 6. Let me show you another technique when multiplying binomials. Call this the box method. You'll find it actually simulates using algebra tiles. It's quite similar. So I'll put x plus 3 on the top again. Let me use a different color here. Oops. That's just a bad box. These don't have to be off center. So x plus 3 on the top, and I can do x plus 2 on the side. So again, the x times x is going to give us x squared, which is right there. The 3 times the x is 3x. Here we have the 2 times the x, and then we have the 2 times the 3. Notice it simulates it pretty closely. The x squared is on the top left, the 3x's are on the top right, the 2x's are on the bottom left, and the 6 is on the bottom right. So the box method is a good simulation of algebra tiles. And so when you're using the box method, similar to the algebra tiles, you're going to have to add the like terms, which come from the bottom left, top right. And so you end up with the same answer. Let me show you one more technique. It's called the FOIL method. F-O-I-L. And I will just write this down here again. So we're doing x plus 2 times x plus 3. FOIL method is pretty similar to both of these methods, except you're talking about which term. So the F stands for firsts. So you take the first term in each binomial. So in this case, x, and multiply them together. So you get x squared. The outers represent the outside numbers and or letters in each binomial. So x times 3, and that's positive, so we put plus. Then I stands for inners, so the inside numbers of each binomial, so 2 and x. Again, that's positive, so we put plus 2x. And L stands for lasts, so the last numbers in each of the binomials, 2 and 3, becomes 6. You'll notice each of these three techniques gets the same answer. So here we have the x squared, the 3x, the 2x, and the 6. And then we would combine the two middle terms, which would be like the diagonal terms there. And we get x squared plus 5x plus 6. The algebra tiles are great because it's a good visual. The box method is going to be really helpful because in 8th grade when we get into factoring trinomials, we're going to use the reverse of this box method. So this is probably going to be the one I'll use the most, just to get us in that mode. But FOIL is also very prevalent, so keep that in mind. Either way, you get the same answer. So let's try another one. We have 4y minus 2 times 6y plus 7. I'm going to use the box method here. So we have 4y minus 2 and 6y plus 7. Notice I usually try to put the sign with the number. So 4y, negative 2, 6y plus 7. So 6 times 4 is 24, and then y times y would be y squared. Then we have 6y times negative 2 becomes negative 12y. And then the 4y times the 7 is the 28y. And finally, the negative 2 times 7 would be negative 14. Now, just like in that first example, we're going to combine those like terms, which are the ones in the middle. Remember, a y squared cannot combine with the y with addition or subtraction. And the negative 14 also cannot combine with anything. So the only two things that combine are the circled ones in blue. So 28 minus 12 would be 16 positive, so plus 16y minus 14 would be our simplified answer. Let's try one more. So now we have x minus 4 times 4x minus 1. Again, I'm going to use the box method. But make sure your notes show all methods, including algebra tiles, which we'll use in class. So I'm going to have x minus 4. I'll put the minus again right there. And then 4x, and the minus or the subtraction is going to stay with the 1. So we have 4x times x means 4 times x, which means x squared. So 4x squared. Negative 4 times 4x is negative 16x. X times negative 1 is negative x. And negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. And again, those diagonals here are like terms, so they can be combined. So we end up with 4x squared, negative 16, and even though it's not written here, when you have a negative x, it means negative 1x. So negative 17x, and then plus 4 is your final answer. And that's it for the video. Thanks for watching.